face of fear on everyone you meet. They come on the street, they give their lives. We are the people.
Ladies and gentlemen, feds and degenerates, cuckolds of all ages, it's time for Miles Culture Plate. I am your host, Mild Kevin Miles, and it is Saturday, September 20th, 2025, and you are locked in for 2 hours of news and infotainment. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody. Come on into the chat. Say hello. Get your toast. Get some sound effects played. And we'll have ourselves a wonderful time this evening. Oh my lord. So what's up, folks? It's been a crazy, crazy week. It's been a week full of hypocrisy. And we're going to get into a lot of that hypocrisy a little bit later. Um, but we'll get into a little bit of hypocrisy in the next couple stories. So let's do this. We got Sanglant in the chat over on Rumble, being our first, our good welcome.
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
Good seeing you, my friend. Good seeing you. Good having you by. You're locked in. You're locked in. So let's do this. Let's start with a little hypocrisy. Over there on the AP, we got the state of California. Now, you may remember good old Gavin Newsom. He was really, really big on enforcing things like all these COVID policies of making people eat outdoors, of requiring social distancing, of certain establishments being shut down, of requiring a vaccine passport in order to attend certain things in public. And he was also pretty adamant that people wear masks. And which is interesting because, hey, we got Alyssa Clips over on YouTube saying, can't stick around, but glad to see you're still at it. Cheers and welcome. If I could ask you to give me a little thumbs up on your way out. Thanks for stopping by. All right. Gavin Newsom has now banned masks from law enforcement. After all the mask mandates and all the COVID mandates, now we don't want cops wearing masks. And I'll get into my own thoughts on this here in just a minute, but let's go ahead and read the AP's take on this from Tran Nguyen and Martha Belisile. California became the first state to ban most law enforcement officers, including federal immigration agents, from covering their faces while conducting official business under a bill signed Saturday by Gavin Newsom. The ban's direct response to immigration raids in Los Angeles, where federal agents wore masks while making mass arrests. The raids prompted days of protest across, and led President Donald Trump to deploy National Guard troops and Marines to the area. Newsom said at a news conference where he signed the bill, flanked by state lawmakers and immigrant community members, that California is unique and that 27% of its residents are foreign born. We celebrate that diversity. It's what makes California great. It's what makes America great. And it's under assault, he said. The Democratic governor said the state's pushing back against the practice of masked agents without identification or badge numbers detaining people on the streets. The impact of these policies all across our city, our state, and our nation are terrifying. It's like a dystopian sci-fi movie. Unmarked cars, people in masks. People are quite literally disappearing. No due process, no rights, no right in a democracy where we have rights. Immigrants have rights. And we have the right to stand up and push back. That's what we're doing here today. It's unclear how or whether the state can enforce the ban on federal agents. Yeah, good luck with that. The Trump administration officials have defended the use of masks, saying immigration agents face strident and increasing harassment in public and online as they carry out enforcement in service of Trump's drive toward mass deportation. Obscuring their identities is necessary for the safety of agents and their families, officials contend. Tricia McLaughlin, Homeland Security Assistant for Public Affairs, called it a despicable and flagrant attempt to endanger our officers. Sanctuary politicians' rhetoric comparing ICE to secret police, likening them to Gestapo, is diabolical, she said in an email. While our federal law enforcement officers are being assaulted by rioters and having rocks and Molotov cocktails thrown at them, a sanctuary politician is trying to outlaw officers wearing masks to protect themselves from being doxxed and targeted by known suspected terrorist sympathizers. The men and women of federal immigration agencies put their lives on the line to arrest violent criminal illegal aliens, she said, and rhetoric like Newsom's have contributed to a surge in assaults. Newsom countered that concerns about doxing are unfounded and unproven. There's an assertion that somehow there's an exponential increase in assaults on officers, but they will not provide the data, he said. All they've provided is misinfo and misdirection. The new law prohibits neck gaiters, ski masks, and other facial coverings for local and federal officers, including immigration enforcement agencies, while they conduct official business. It does make exceptions for undercover agents, medical masks, respirators, tactical gear does not apply to state police. So there you go. Just have the state police do it. But the state police is controlled by Gavin Newsom, so you can't. Democrats in Congress and lawmakers in several states, including Tennessee, Michigan, Illinois, New York, Massachusetts, and Pennsylvania, have also introduced similar proposals. DHS said it sent letters Friday to the attorneys general in California, Illinois, and New York, reinforcing previous instructions that they honor detainers from ICE for criminal illegal aliens within their jurisdiction. DHS said in a statement Saturday that if the states fail to comply, it would pursue, quote, all appropriate measures to end their inadvisable, irresponsible obstruction. Proponents of the California law said it especially needed after the Supreme Court ruled this month that the Trump administration can resume its sweeping immigration operations in LA. Law aims to boost public trust in law enforcement and stop people from impersonating officers to commit crimes. I mean, we'll get into some of that too here in a minute. Constitutional law expert. Okay, I don't want to hear everyone's fucking opinion on this. Let's just talk about this for a second. I'm kind of with California on this. Look, I know we recently had this situation where Kristi Noem and Donald Trump asked for, a lot of new ICE agents. Hey, we got Elemental MJ in the chat over on Rumble. Cheers and welcome. By the way, let me give Alyssa Clips the old Taco Bell dong. There we go. And I'll give Elemental MJ the old police. Hey, it didn't play. What the fuck? There we go. Cheers and welcome to you. Good having you in the Elemental MJ says, what Wheezie passed? Well, we're going to get into that story here in a little bit. But basically, it's a comment referring to the Jimmy Kimmel Live television program. So we'll get into that here in a minute. But right now we're talking about immigration agents wearing masks while enforcing some shindig in LA here. I get it. It's a tough job. Any type of security or law enforcement or even military. Those are tough jobs. But also it's important that our government not be anonymous. It's important that if somebody's rights are violated, that they be able to particularly identify and be able to sue the people who violated their rights. I think it's vital, at least domestically, that government agents have to display their name if they're going to interact with members of the public. Now, you could say, well, ICE is different because ICE primarily interacts with illegal migrants and they necessarily don't have the same rights enjoyed to them by as regular citizens of the United States. But I think that's half the question, right? We need to make sure that the people being rounded up and deported are actually illegal migrants. And if someone who was a citizen manages to slip through the cracks, so to speak, they need to be able to have a legal remedy. So government, your safety doesn't matter to me as much as the safety of the people of the states. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. You have my sympathy, you have my empathy, you have a very tough job. I want to see you be able to carry it out without having your life and family threatened. But unfortunately, you have the type of job where that's not possible. Now, I will say that with Trump's recent declaration, and I don't know if you folks heard about this, I'm assuming you have, Trump had a recent declaration where he was going to label Antifa as a terrorist organization. I think those kind of things help with this doxing situation you're talking about. I think those kinds of things would go a long way. And if you find someone who has doxed an ICE agent or a National Guard member and harassed their families, I'm all for making that highly illegal and rounding up those people as well and throwing them in jail for a long time, making it a federal crime. I'm all for that too. There are lots of ways you can fix this problem without having, quote, literal secret police. So I'm with California on this. And yeah, I do hope New York and Tennessee and the other states also pass similar legislation. All right, so let's so that was kind of a hypocrisy because yeah, we still have leftists. I'm going to call them leftists. They're not leftists. We still have people who, because of the prevalence of medical masks throughout our society during COVID, and now you have some far leftists who still will wear a mask every day. You also now have criminal elements in our communities who will utilize the idea of, hey, I can wear a mask all the time to just hide their face while going around from day to day and committing their crimes. And I don't agree with that. That needs to be highly illegal as well. All right, let's go over to Reuters real quick. Luigi Mangioni's lawyers urge judge to block the death penalty over the CEO murder. Mangioni's lawyers urged a federal judge in New York on Saturday to block prosecutors from seeking the death penalty for their client who's charged with killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. In a court filing, Mangioni's lawyers argued that the Justice Department should be precluded from seeking the death penalty because of actions that would have violated his due process rights. They said these included staging a dehumanizing unconstitutional perp walk where he was televised, videotaped, and photographed, clambering out of a helicopter in shackles. Because of the blatant, intentional, and damaging nature of this torrent of prejudice for multiple public officials, mainly the Attorney General, yeah, fuck you, Pam Bondi. From the inception of this case through the grand jury vote, the death penalty indictment against Mr. Mangione must be dismissed, the motion stated. Mangione's pled not guilty over the shooting death. Thompson gunned down, United Healthcare's insurance unit. Thompson was gunned down outside a Midtown Manhattan hotel where company executives were attending a conference. Blah, 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 blah. Case is overseen by District Judge Margaret Garnett in seeking the death penalty. Pam Bondi called Thompson's death a premeditated, cold-blooded assassination that shocked America. Lawyers for Mangione have called that announcement unapologetically and said prosecutors breached normal protocols by not first conducting a lengthy investigation or giving defense lawyers a chance to push back. Next court appearance is on December 5th, and Garnett said she may then set a trial date for 2026. If Garnett allows the death penalty and a jury convicts Mangione of murder, the same jury would consider the execution. Apocryphal World Records, good seeing you. Long time no see, my friend. Let me go ahead and let's see. What do we got? We got. Let me give you my African American.
Look at my African American over here. Look at him. Are you the greatest? Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay. So we have.
Cheers, my friend. Good having you by. Good having you by. All right. Mangione faces up to life in prison if he's convicted in the state case. Okay, so New York. Okay, so Mangione faces 9 state-level criminal counts, including murder. State Judge Gregory Caro dismissed 2 terrorism charges. Okay, next hearing there scheduled for December 1st, no trial date. All right, so there you have it. Well, should we get into the top story of the day? Okay, so yeah, Elemental MJ asked about the stream title. Let's see here. Let me go find the stream title. Real quick. Just here we go. So if you don't remember, Jimmy Kimmel had this to say about people who were unsure about getting the COVID-19 vaccination. So let's get into this. So this is why the stream is titled the way it is.
So tough to me. Vaccinated person having a heart attack? Yes, come right on in. We'll take care of you. Unvaccinated guy who gobbled horse goo? Rest in peace, Wheezie.
Now, he made that joke about anyone who might need an ICU bed, not just because of COVID. Like, if I got hit by a car, Jimmy Kimmel wanted me to die outside of a hospital for not getting the COVID-19 vaccine. Rest in peace, Wheezie, is what he said. And so now Jimmy Kimmel is both under fire and under martyrdom because he said these comments last Monday.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. He's at the 4th stage of grief, construction. There's demolition, construction.
Okay, so this next thing he's about to say, I'm going to break this shit down here in a minute, but listen to what he's about to say. This, to me, is the important part. Granted, the beginning about the MAGA trying to paint this as a left-winger instead of one of their own, we're gonna address that too. But this is the important part here.
This is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish.
Okay. So we're going to get into this a little bit because this is now our new martyr. Not Charlie Kirk, not the man who was literally assassinated. And I'm sure you've heard this rant on every other live stream over the past 4 days. I'm not going to do that. But this is your martyr. And we're going to get into every little nook and cranny of this story real quick because I got to address some certain aspects of this. When we talk on this show, one of the things I try to do on this show is talk about false narratives and why false narratives are built, how they're rooted in mainstream media, how they're rooted in the global elites trying to craft certain narratives, how to craft the feelings of the public toward each other, the divide and conquer techniques, and how it's basically meant to harm families and conservatives. So Jimmy Kimmel said those statements, and then was it the next day, I believe? Yeah. And this is an 8-minute clip. I'm going to jump around a little bit. But FCC Chairman Brandon Carr went on the Benny Johnson show and had some comments to make about Jimmy Kimmel's comments. Because rightfully so, the right wing conservatives were upset. Not just that after a weekend of saying, no, this dude's clearly not a right winger, like all of these crazy things about him being radicalized by the internet and this attempt to deflect him into being a groiper or being MAGA. No, these are shitpost memes that you'd find on Reddit and gaming boards. This at best just meant he was like an internet addicted incel, not necessarily right wing, right? But they kept trying to paint this as right wing. It was improper, but more particularly, I want to address the comment about the goldfish. Because even though, right, Kimmel's kind of trying to tell this story as a third party, like he's saying that Trump thinks he's a goldfish, like you are still, like this is still your narrative, Jimmy Kimmel. Like you are still the one calling an innocent life that was murdered. You're still comparing that to a goldfish. Now you can say you don't think Donald Trump in that clip gave enough reverence to his friend that passed without comparing him to a fish. It was insensitive. Now, do I think it's scummy enough that you should be censored? No. I don't think it's scummy enough that you should be censored. But, people have a right to be upset. Your employer has a right to be upset. And chips will fall where they may. And we'll get into that in just a minute. But you also made inaccurate statements. And so, between the inaccurate statement and the scummy statement together made that entire clip anger inducing for much of the public. And now there are a lot of live streamers out there that'll bring up the numbers and they'll show that Jimmy Kimmel's lost a number of viewers, that he's losing not just ABC, but all the affiliate networks, a lot of money that advertisers were already talking about pulling out. And this was the straw that broke the camel's back. And we can talk about some of that here in a minute, but I'm not trying to necessarily get into the numbers. I'm a philosophy guy. I'm a freedom of speech guy. And look, here I am. I'm on Rumble. I'm on YouTube. Right now, I don't know how accurate these numbers are, but this says I'm only streaming to one person. Because that number one is me, and I think one of these is me. It's weird seeing the zeros on X and YouTube, though, because I have those windows open as well, so those should at least be one. But I don't know how those numbers are counted by Rumble Studio, or if they're even accurate. So, according to this, I'm only streaming to one person right now. Jimmy Kimmel, you occupy public airwaves. And as such, you automatically get put in the access pipeline of homes all across America. And as such, the FCC has interest in it. So let's go to Brandon Carr.
You know, when you look at the conduct that has taken place by Jimmy Kimmel, it appears to be some of the sickest conduct possible.
Here's
As
where I'll
you
be
indicated,
critical.
there are avenues here for the FCC. So there are some ways in which I need to be a little bit careful, because we could be called ultimately to be a judge on some of these claims that come up. But I don't think this is an isolated incident. I mean, you go back to Representative Swalwell, and he had a tweet out last week where he was saying that, emphasizing that Charlie Kirk's killer was a straight white male from a Republican family that voted for Donald Trump. In some quarters, there's a very concerted effort to try to lie to the American people about the nature, as you indicate, of one of the most significant, newsworthy public interest acts that we've seen in a long time. And what appears to be an action by Jimmy Kimmel to play into that narrative that this was somehow a MAGA or Republican motivated person. If that's what happened here with his conduct, that is really, really sick. And I've been very clear from the moment that I have become chairman of the FCC. I want to reinvigorate the public interest. And what people don't understand is that the broadcasters, and you've gotten this right, are entirely different than people that use other forms of communication. They have a license granted by us at the FCC.
See, now that's important.
Comes with it an obligation to operate in the public interest. And we can get into some ways that we've been trying to reinvigorate the public interest and some changes that we've seen. But frankly, when you see stuff like this, I mean, look, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. These companies.
Okay, so he says we could do this the easy way or the hard way. And that statement, that little phrase, is being parroted by the mainstream media, by other alleged comedians. Because I don't even, people keep calling Jimmy Kimmel a comedian. I'm not going to call him a comedian. He's a television personality. Yeah, he makes what they call jokes, but I honestly, they're not funny. They're just punchlines. Now, I don't necessarily think this is the job for the FCC.
Can find
we'll get
ways
into that in a
to
second.
Change conduct, to take action, frankly,
See,
on Kimmel, or there's going to be additional work for the FCC ahead.
So let's play that again.
Find ways to change conduct.
Let me back up a little.
Some changes that we've seen, but frankly, when you see stuff like this, I mean, look, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. These companies can find ways to change conduct, to take action, frankly, on Kimmel, or there's going to be additional work for the FCC ahead. Okay,
additional work for the FCC, but he doesn't say like we're going to censure you, we're not going to take your license. He doesn't say any of that. He doesn't say what that work's going to be. It could just be a strongly worded letter. We don't know. But again, even a strongly worded letter is the government getting involved in the speech. But again, ABC and a lot of these networks tend to promote left-wing agendas. Tend to say that right-wingers are all liars or Nazis or whatever. We'll get into some of that too.
Victim blame. And what that does, Mr. Chairman, respectfully, is continues the lie and continues the threat level.
Okay, so
there's calls for Kimmel to be fired. I think you could certainly see a path forward for suspension over this. And again, the FCC
and that's exactly what
have
had
that
happened.
We could look at.
But again, he says the FCC he keeps pondering on the FCC being the ultimate judge. And I don't necessarily agree with that. I think maybe he should have given some time to this. I don't think he should have went on a public podcast and made these statements. I don't agree with that. Let me see here. Let me go ahead and close that out. Dear Lord, I have too many tabs open. Close that out. All right, now, shortly after that aired, or maybe even while that was airing, the same day, you had this press release from Sinclair Media that owns a lot of television affiliates of ABC. Sinclair says Kimmel's suspension is not enough, calls on FCC and ABC to take additional action. Sinclair, the nation's largest ABC affiliate group, objects to recent comments made by Kimmel. As discussed with ABC earlier today, Sinclair has decided to indefinitely preempt Jimmy Kimmel Live beginning tonight. Following these discussions, ABC has suspended production of Jimmy Kimmel Live. Mr. Kimmel's remarks were inappropriate and deeply insensitive at a critical moment for our country. We believe broadcasters have a responsibility to educate and elevate respectful, constructive dialogue in our communities. We appreciate FCC Chairman's remarks today. Okay, so yeah, this was after his remarks. This incident highlights the critical need for FCC to take immediate regulatory action to address control held over local broadcasters by big national networks. Sinclair's ABC stations will air a special in remembrance of Charlie Kirk this Friday during the Kimmel Live time slot. Special will also air across all Sinclair stations this weekend. In addition, Sinclair is offering the special to all ABC affiliates across the country. Sinclair will not lift the suspension of Jimmy Kimmel Live on our stations until formal discussions are held with ABC regarding the network's commitment to professionalism and accountability. Sinclair also calls on Kimmel to issue a direct apology to the Kirk family. Furthermore, we ask Mr. Kimmel make a meaningful personal donation to Kirk family and Turning Point USA. Regardless of ABC's plans for the future of the program, Sinclair intends to not return Jimmy Kimmel Live to our air until we're confident that appropriate steps have been taken to uphold the standards expected of a national broadcast platform. So again, Sinclair Media is a private corporation. Hang on. I want to get a better not potato image. Here we go. Here's another press release that was released the same day. Nexstar Media Group. So this is the producing company. This is the company that produced Jimmy Kimmel Live. This is their television show. These are Jimmy Kimmel's bosses, not ABC Networks, not even the Sinclair Media Group we just showed. Those people, ABC is the distributor. You know, you think about it, Sinclair Media Group is the store chain, right? They're the Walmart. ABC is the distributor. And Nexstar Media Group, they're the manufacturer. Nexstar Media Group announced that the company's owned and partner television stations affiliated with ABC Television Network would preempt Jimmy Kimmel Live for the foreseeable future, beginning with tonight's show. Nexstar strongly objects to recent comments made by Mr. Kimmel concerning the killing of Charlie Kirk and will replace the show with other programming in its ABC-affiliated markets. Mr. Kimmel's comments about the death of Mr. Kirk are offensive and insensitive at a critical time in our national political discourse and do not believe they reflect the spectrum of opinions, views, or values of local communities in which we are located, said Andrew Alford, president of Nextstar's Broadcasting Division. Continuing to give Mr. Kimmel a broadcast platform in the communities we serve is simply not in the public interest at the current time, and we've made the difficult decision to preempt this show in an effort to let cooler heads prevail as we move toward the resumption of a respectful, constructive dialogue. Okay, so you have a lot of moving parts here. But ultimately, it was Jimmy Kimmel's bosses at Nextstar Media Group. Now, granted, they wouldn't have had television stations to pimp this product to because of Sinclair Media Group's decision. And here's the funny part. ABC is owned by Disney. And the left wing wants to boycott Disney over this. ABC's caught in the middle. They're caught in the crossfire. They're caught in a crossfire between TV stations and audiences who don't want this crap and a production company who doesn't want to serve this crap. But you have far left celebrities, political activists, and just generally terminally online weirdos who want to make the Disney Corporation out to be the villain in this story. For example, don't harass this person. Brooklyn Dad Defiant. Defend free speech, boycott Disney, pass it on. Walt Disney stock down. I heard reports that they were having a protest outside of Walt Disney World. And that the protesters actually went into Disney World and spent money. So much for a boycott. Disney has lost $3.87 billion overnight because of Jimmy Kimmel. I've heard a lot of comparisons over the past week between what happened to Jimmy Kimmel and what happened to Roseanne Barr. Roseanne Barr used to work at ABC. But if I remember right, ABC itself was part of the production company that put out the Roseanne show. Now remember, Roseanne got canceled. Roseanne Barr was labeled a racist. Roseanne was labeled unmarketable. Simply because people had feelings about the word ape. If you don't remember, Roseanne Barr called Valerie Jarrett, who worked for the Obama administration. I want you to remember that. Worked for the Obama administration. Valerie Jarrett said she looked like Planet of the Apes. Now, again, I'm not saying what Roseanne said was right. I'm not saying it was nice. I'm not saying it was empathetic, sympathetic, whatever. She clearly was trying to insult this woman. But this woman, for one, is not black, like we think black. She's not fully black. She's like an eighth black, something like that. I'm not saying it's right to call her a monkey. But in the wake of this scandal with Roseanne, and I don't want to rehash all this because it happened when it happened, and I don't want to go back to everything everyone has ever said and every cancel culture bullshit. But the Roseanne one is important to me. Because what happened when ABC approached Roseanne and told her that she was no longer going to be marketable? She signed away the rights to her show. She walked away, knowing that if she didn't get fired, everyone would get fired. The writers, the staff, the crew, the assistants, her co-stars. She walked away peacefully. Mostly. I mean, she's still going to be Roseanne. She's still going to be loud. She's still going to be obnoxious. Singlet says, worst thing is the ape is still a better speaker than Dolly Jarrett. Yeah. Whereas Jimmy Kimmel would bring down entire networks. You have the far left advocating that ABC bring down entire networks of television affiliates to continue airing the Jimmy Kimmel Live program. Now, again, I go back into saying a lot of conservatives, a lot of podcasters have mentioned that Jimmy Kimmel's viewership was down. The Jimmy Kimmel's popularity was down. That late night television itself has been a down thing. So I'm sure Nexstar Media, Sinclair Broadcasting, they did the math. This isn't just a we don't like what you said. It's a we don't like what you said, and we did the math and decided you weren't worth it. Now, does that mean Nexstar could not do a late night television program that would save people's jobs, that would keep people working outside of Jimmy Kimmel? Outside of the writers who wrote, I guarantee that wasn't even Jimmy Kimmel's joke. That was probably a writer's joke. And I'm not asking Jimmy Kimmel to throw one of his writers under the bus. But we should know where that joke came from. The American people should know where that joke came from. If it's not going to be Jimmy Kimmel, if it's not going to be someone else in the writing room. Singlet says, to be fair, screwing Conan killed the late night talk shows. Yeah, that too. Not just screwing Conan, but more importantly, screwing Craig Kilborn. and Craig Ferguson, both. Craig Kilborn and Craig Ferguson. They both got screwed. By this late night bullshit. And they were both far better than their replacements, in my opinion. So yeah, every celebrity and their grandmother has come out in support of Jimmy Kimmel. And everyone's calling this the government censoring speech. You even have, oh shit, I killed my browser tab. Hang on, here we go. You even have Jay Leno saying, if you don't like it, don't watch it. Well, no, that's just it. The distributor don't like it. The production company doesn't like it. So why should they have to pay for it? But again, we're told that suddenly this is a threat to the First Amendment because of this FCC comment. We're told the important part is the FCC pressuring Nexstar, the FCC pressuring Sinclair Media Group. Thango says, I'm looking forward to not watching live from Jimmy Kimmel's couch. I mean, didn't they already do that, though? Wasn't there like a month where all of the late night hosts were doing like COVID cope streams over fucking Zoom? But we're told this is the problem. Government's coming after speech, and this has never happened before. And this is literally the mustache man from World War II. Folks, the left wants you dead. The left have a very short-term memory because it wasn't that long ago we had this happening to us.
These people from the Biden administration would call up our team and like scream at them and curse, and it's like these documents it's all kind of out there.
Did you record any of those phone calls?
I don't think we but I think
I want to listen.
I mean, there are emails. the emails are published. It's all kind of out there, and they're like, and basically it just got to this point where we were like, no, we're not gonna take down things that are true. That's ridiculous. They wanted us to take down this meme of Leonardo DiCaprio looking at a TV talking about how 10 years from now or something, you're going to see an ad that says, okay, if you took a COVID vaccine, you're eligible for, for this kind of payment, like this sort of like class action lawsuit type meme. And they're like, no, you have to take that down. We just said, no, we're not going to take down humor and satire. We're not going to take down things that are true. And then at some point, I guess, I don't know, it flipped a bit. I mean, Biden, when he gave some statement at some point, I don't know if it was a press conference or to some journalists, where he basically was like, these guys are killing people. And I don't know, then like all these different agencies and branches of government basically just like started investigating, coming after our company. It was brutal. It was brutal.
Wow.
Oh, so you don't like government coming after companies for this free speech on their platform. This program, this show you're watching right now, Mild's Culture Plate, was removed from YouTube for a week for questioning the efficacies of the COVID-19 vaccine. Because of the chilling of government. And you want to act like this is something new. You want to act like this is something new.
I believe it was probably the right decision for the company, but the wrong decision for the world. And we saw a lot of follow-on companies such as AWS take Parler off their services and being removed from the App Store. And I think it opened a gate that I'm not proud of at all. It felt wrong to me, and I was always searching for a different solution, but I just did not come up with a solution within that structure. And I could not figure it out. And I don't know, like personally, it was heartbreaking. All of these actions that we took and actions that we didn't take as well. I grew up as a punk. I never wanted to be an entrepreneur. I never wanted to build a company. I never wanted to be a CEO. But it was the path
there's always
to
a but.
Twitter. And I had to learn what I had to learn. And in that, I learned what I had forgotten as well. What I'd forgotten about what I loved about the internet and why I'm here in the first place.
And he also said that the government pressured him to censor people.
I believe it was
that was the
probably
pressure
the right
that he'd
decision.
received over January 6th and Donald Trump. And let's not forget this fucking creature.
We kind of have a hierarchy in the report, and I also should explain what malign creativity is.
Yes, please do. Yes.
So we've got gendered abuse, which is the typical sort of stuff that you see that any woman in public life has experienced before, picking apart your appearance, using gendered slurs against you. Then a subset of that is gendered disinformation. So that's false or misleading information that uses gendered tropes. So it might be, for instance, this is a big one that we tracked in the report, Kamala Harris slept her way to the top. Or it might be that Jacinda Ardern, another one that we found.
So this was the Biden administration's misinformation czar. Talking about this being gendered misinformation, not the improper statistics around domestic violence that paint men improperly as the majority aggressor of all domestic violence situations when it's really closer to 50-50. Not all of the other hateful things that are said online about loving husbands and fathers. But the real problem with gendered misinformation is that some people joked about Kamala Harris being sexually involved with her superiors as she was coming up through the ranks of politics.
Is actually a man, that she couldn't be in the position of power that she's in. She is a trans man, and that's why she is where she is. Then there are these sexual or sexualized tropes. We see, again, the narrative about Kamala Harris. We also see women, including Ivanka Trump and AOC, sexualized as sexual objects. And then we see racial and racialized narratives compounding all of these. So we might see racist tropes about, name it.
So she's calling on social media companies to make policy about that. And we didn't really cover this bitch that much on this show at the time. But Nina Jankowicz, essentially the government's censorship czar under the Biden administration. And so people want us to be empathetic and sympathetic to Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel, who wanted us dead, who literally wanted us to die outside of hospitals because of some milk toast comments that the chairman of the FCC made on the Benny Johnson show. Now, I'm not saying they were right comments. I'm not saying they were correct. I'm not saying the FCC should have gotten involved. I'm saying this is a tiny, tiny dose of the medicine that conservatives had to suffer through for multiple decades, trying to speak our mind and being told that we were lying, being told that we didn't know what we were talking about. Shut up and trust the science. Shut up. I don't think you're a medical doctor. And the medical doctors were following these people in the media. And now a man is murdered. And people were celebrating. People were celebrating. Mm-hmm. And then you had this. Then you had this back in the Biden administration. Sorry, I skipped one here. I got to go back a little bit and talk a little more about the Biden administration.
Oh, what the agency's official rationale was for having
I'll be right back,
Arctic
folks.
frost?
This was just to sweep up conservatives because Biden had come into office. And I tell you, this hits a little home for me. I was actually chairman of the Republican Attorneys General Association at the time this was happening. And to come to find this out now, it's pretty remarkable. And by the way, I heard that clip coming in, Laura, about the Hunter Biden laptop story. I write about it in The Last Line of Defense, my new book out. We took the deposition of Elvis Chan. It's very clear in November of 2019, they knew the laptop was real. They tried to pre-bunk it all in 2020 with the big tech companies. But this was part of an effort by the FBI to go after conservative causes and leaders, including Charlie Kirk at Turning Point, as it turns out, including the RAG of the Republican Attorneys General Association, RGA, sort of the whole of Republican apparatus, the conservative movement. They had law enforcement out there snooping and trying to ensnare people into criminal charges. And then what we found out in the Judiciary Committee, Laura, with this Arctic frost operation, this was folded into Jack Smith's criminal investigation, then, of course, into President Trump and trying to jail their chief political opponent. We've never seen anything like this in the history of our country. I don't care. You want to talk about Watergate, whatever you want to talk about. We've never seen anything like this.
So, you know, when you see left-wingers on the internet crying about Jimmy Kimmel's free speech rights, remind them of Arctic frost. Remind them of Nina Jankowicz. Remind them of Mark Zuckerberg telling Joe Rogan that the Biden administration wanted people taken down. Let's see. There was another thing I wanted to bring up. Where did it go? When you see, okay, so here's an example of what I'm talking about here. Here's a minute and a half clip from actor Mark Ruffalo from Marvel Garbage.
We saw Jimmy Kimmel's show was canceled. We don't know what the reasons are, really. It's very cloudy and murky. I don't understand what's happening right now. My industry doesn't understand what's happening right now. But what they do understand is our freedom of speech is being attacked. I heard Mark Maron today talk about it. He said, you guys were so afraid of being canceled. You went out and you screamed and you yelled about being canceled. But the cancellation was coming from people who didn't like what you had to say. It was coming from people who didn't agree with what you were saying and were.
Yes, and those people amplified that message until our bosses heard it. And they went out and harassed people's bosses, harassed people's workplace, and got them fired. Hey, Sinclair Media Group, same situation.
Speaking out about it. This cancellation is the United States government coming and taking your voice
Again.
away from you. It is the United States government that is now suppressing the freedom of speech. It is the United States government, not your neighbors, not someone on social media. It is the government doing it now. And that's where we all have to come together.
Okay, Mark, where were you during Arctic frost? Where were you during COVID? Oh yeah, you were screaming at us, telling us we were going to kill grandma if we didn't wear a mask. You were screaming at us, telling us we were responsible for millions of deaths for not taking an experimental vaccine. You told us we were monsters and didn't deserve to live. Like Jimmy Kimmel said, we deserve to die outside of hospitals. When we were being censored, when government was shutting down our voices. You weren't there. And now you want us to come together because of the threat of government. Now, again, I've said I don't agree with the chairman of the FCC going on a globally available broadcast and saying we could do this the easy way or the hard way. But ultimately, he's not the one who fired Jimmy Kimmel. That was a decision by Nexstar and Sinclair, not the government.
Because authoritarian regimes, fascist regimes have to degrade.
Always have to have that word. Always have to have that word. Ladies and gentlemen, you cannot have a left-winger complaining about anything in society without that F word or without a comparison to World War II. It doesn't exist. They literally cannot make a complaint without comparing World War II or the F word.
Our freedoms have
Let's
to
do that again.
degrade our freedoms.
Shit,
together.
here we go.
Because authoritarian regimes, fascist.
I need to clip that F word there. I need to clip that F word.
Regimes have to degrade our freedoms more and more over time until we're living the smallest, the most frightened, the most secretive lives. Think of yourselves living under the Taliban.
No, I'm thinking of myself living under the Biden administration.
Because that's where we're headed.
I mean, most adult men, have a place to live under the Taliban. Like
we saw Jimmy Kimmel.
Anyway, I'm not trying to compare to the Taliban to Joe Biden. I get it. We did have more freedoms here, but still. Got more on this story. Like I said, we're deep diving. Variety is the news outlet that really broke a lot of these news stories. And last night they put this out. Hey, Jimmy Kimmel and Disney are working to reach a compromise to bring his show back. Insiders caution that no agreement is in sight, but discussions continue as Kimmel weighs concerns about staff job losses if his show ends. Well, good. I'm glad you're thinking about that. Business and legal representatives are in deep discussion with Disney and ABC leaders in hopes of finding a path to compromise that would allow for the return of Jimmy Kimmel Live, according to 3 people with knowledge of the situation. So again, we keep hearing about 3 people with knowledge of things here. Host made no public comment since the show was abruptly pulled. Nexstar said it intended, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Anyway, there's no point. There's no guarantee Kimmel and Disney will come to terms on agreement, nor is it clear where Kimmel's mindset stands on what he would and would not accept from ABC as conditions of taking the stage again. It's understood that Kimmel is mindful of the effects of a shutdown would have on dozens of production staffers as well as vendors in LA who work on the show. The host is also aware some staff and crew members are still digging out of the financial hole created by the writer and actor strike of 2023. So it may come back. So remember what I said about leftists. Going back to what I was just saying during the Mark Ruffalo comments. Remember what I said about leftists? They cannot argue without bringing up World War II mustache man or the F word. I'm sure this person will have a lovely take.
So I'm watching the special celebration that they're having for Charlie Kirk and his passing or whatever. And just be ready, guys. The verbiage that they are using to describe what they will do about the incident, it's not to be taken lightly. They are using strong and violent language that seems geared towards people who are not in the same mindset as them.
Oh, you mean somebody said something like, we should punch Nazis, we should yeet Nazis, we should do things in Minecraft to fascists, fascists get the bullet, that kind of stuff, and declaring anyone who's not fully in line with your political ideology a Nazi or a fascist in the next breath, that kind of stuff. Is this the kind of thing you're talking about?
Just be aware. It honestly gives old Germany rally, if you catch my drift.
Hey! There we go. World War II reference.
And it's really crazy to me that they aren't even bringing up the fact that this wasn't a left-wing person who did this to Charlie. It was
Bullshit.
A very alt-right person who just happened to not like
Bullshit.
Charlie. But of course, this administration is going to use all of this as fuel for the fire. This is what they've been waiting for, if they didn't cause this themselves. They needed a reason for a civil. And now they have one. So I'm watching.
Imagine that. Imagine that. All of the rhetoric that far leftists have been spreading about people like Charlie Kirk, about people like J.K. Rowling, about how people like myself are responsible for the deaths because of our lack of empathy. Saying, did she just admit that the left are low down? Yeah, pretty much. Oh yeah, I didn't cover. Man, I got some of my tabs out of order here. I didn't cover this. In the fallout of all this Jimmy Kimmel and Charlie Kirk stuff. Like I said, the left wing is boycotting ABC, and that boycott turned to bullets in the side of a Sacramento television station. Boom, boom, boom. 3 bullet holes in the side of a Sacramento ABC television station. Obviously, right-wing extremism, right? According to that lady. Obviously, part of the dangerous stuff we're hearing from the left wing, or from the right wing, excuse me. Shout out to ABC, though, for, like I said, I personally don't think any of this was ABC's fault. I don't think any of this was Disney's fault. These are 3 different corporations, and they were stuck in the middle between the other 2 that made the decision. So, what was that? Wednesday? The United States Senate passed a bill declaring Charlie Kirk's birthday as Charlie Kirk Day. And as part of the resolution, honored Charlie Kirk for his commitment to our country. This bill has now went into the House of Representatives. Let's see. I'm trying to find. Damn it. Here we go. Here's the Charlie Kirk Act. Greeting, blah, blah, blah. Eyes had prevailed. Okay. But it says postpone proceedings. That's weird. At the conclusion of debate, the chair put the question on agreeing to the resolution and by voice vote announced that the yeas had prevailed. Mr. Biggs demanded the yeas and nays, and the chair postponed the proceedings. Okay, so Mr. Biggs of Arizona wanted the yeas and nays documented, and they postponed. There's a reason for this. So this is honoring Charlie Kirk. United States Congress. The Senate passed it, both parties unanimous. But during this voice vote in the House, Mississippi Congressman Benny Thompson voted nay. I condemn unequivocally in the strongest terms the violent murder of Charlie Kirk. I'm praying for his family and for our nation as we navigate the aftermath of last week's horrific shooting. No one should be killed for what they say or what they believe, and any claim to the contrary betrays the values upon which this nation was founded. But my deep regret, see, there's the but. You know the rule. Anything before the but is bullshit. But my deep regret that Mr. Kirk was killed and my respect for his First Amendment right to express himself freely does not make him someone that should be elevated as a role model for the American public. The resolution before us today would do just that. The fact that Kirk's rhetoric was divisive, disparaging, and all too often rooted in grievance. The beliefs he evangelized normalized fringe views on race, sex, and immigration. Unfortunately, this rhetoric surfaced dangerous prejudices of a dark past. I've spent my entire career from the peak of the civil rights movement until today advocating for equal rights for everyone, regardless of race, sex, or religion. As did Charlie Kirk, motherfucker. Sorry. I cannot in good conscience honor someone who demeaned women, immigrants, and black Americans, who even questioned the very foundation of civil rights progress in this country. This resolution is intentionally written to be divisive, and I must oppose it. Benny Thompson. See you in November next year, buddy. And I mean, your voters will see you in November next year. Good luck with that. Good luck with that election next year, buddy. This is also exhausting. is the thing I was freaking looking for. Here it is. Here's MSNBC. Here's MSNBC trying to gaslight you folks on everything you've seen in the past week and a half.
I think if you look across media generally, you have seen a lot of people trying to grapple with Charlie Kirk's legacy and what that is as a right-wing agitator and as a provocateur and as, a strategist and the most important GOP figure besides Donald Trump, arguably ever. And so, or right now. And so there's a lot of grappling to do, but to suggest that the internet is cheering for this is just the opposite. Total opposite of what's actually happening. It is horrible. I think if you look across media.
The opposite, huh? You're saying people weren't posting memes with blood gashing out of people's necks. People weren't saying they were glad he died. Are you trying to claim that? Because here's where my rant gets to the important part. Here's where my anger comes out. Now, you've heard me say some heated things today. But here's something you need to know. And this is the difference between honesty and dishonesty. This is the difference between true diversity and lip service. When you look at the right wing, now remember what the lady said earlier, that this was a far right wing person who did this to Charlie Kirk. There's a reason she can say that. Because even the left know that the right wing is not a monolith. That conservatives don't demand a pigeonholed fealty to a specific set of values. That we're diverse in thought and opinion and even narrative. We have differences amongst ourselves. And we're able to come to the table and discuss those differences. You have people like Tucker Carlson, Alex Jones, Nick Fuentes. You have people like Laura Loomer, Rand Paul. None of these people have the exact same set of beliefs. They all believe different things about dramatically different aspects of society. They don't have the same values. But one thing they do agree is America has lost touch with God. That people from within and people coming to our country from other parts of the world want to take the small amount of values that we do share as Americans and pervert them. To be a conservative is to be a patriot. I'm a libertarian. I don't even like government. I don't even like politics. I just want to be left the hell alone. And that's yet another shared value amongst a lot of conservatives. But to be a left-winger, to be a Democrat, you have to be pro-choice. You have to be pro-trans. The only thing the left wing's divided on, and that's even only slightly divided really, is Israel. which the right's divided on Israel as well. But every other issue, healthcare, socialism, vaccines. Don't get me wrong, there's some hippy-dippy leftists who don't like vaccines and who like healthy food. But even those people don't like Bobby Kennedy because he's all of a sudden right-wing and supporting Trump and blah, blah, blah. The left wing is, in many ways, a monolith. They demand fealty. They demand unity. And even in areas in which they have disagreements, they act like each other doesn't exist. And it's main character syndrome that every Democrat is me. So when you hear that lady from MSNBC tell you that no Democrats were celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk, what she's really saying is, I don't know because I didn't take 5 minutes to look. And I just assume that literally everyone on the left wing of politics is exactly like me. Because if they're not exactly like me, then I have to hate them. And I don't hate them because I didn't look. Because I hate the right wing more. This is the ideology of the far left. They don't care to look under the surface. They look at the surface. They have an emotional reaction to what the surface is. They form their political opinion and then assume that everyone else with any kind of empathy or emotion would feel the same way they do. So therefore, it must be right. And look, I'm not a divide and conquer guy. I don't like the left wing, right wing narratives. I was a far left winger at some point in my life. But I grew up. I understood that empathy was only surface level. And that really you have to love humans for who they are, not for how nice they can be. All right, folks. Okay, where did we go? Okay, let's get into some other news stories real quick. And then we'll wrap up with the Love Don't Judge. Let's go over to Fox News. While we're talking about activism, I believe we covered this story on Wednesday about these two gentlemen that were found hanging on the same college campus. The autopsy has now ruled the death of Trey Reed, the African-American gentleman, as a suicide. So both hangings have now been ruled a suicide. And yeah, I just said that word on YouTube, so I'm probably no hope of ever being monetized on YouTube, but I ain't worried about it. But the idea that this young African American male would do this to himself was not a good enough explanation for former NFL quarterback Colin Kaepernick, who has now offered some of his wealth to help pay for an independent autopsy of Trey Reed. So shout out to Colin Kaepernick. You know, a lot of us had opinions on him kneeling for the national anthem. I didn't love that. But I do respect a man who puts his money where his mouth is, who puts himself out for a cause. Demartravion Trey Reed's family searches for answers surrounding his death. Former NFL quarterback Colin Kaepernick is hoping he can help provide them. Reed was found dead, hanging from a tree at Delta State University in Cleveland, Mississippi. The county coroner and state examiner ruled it a suicide. No foul play is suspected, according to the police, despite early outrage and serious allegations about his death. Reed's family attorney, Ben Crump. Okay, got to have a sound effect for Ben Crump here. Let's see here. What do we got here? Fuck it. Give him the smoke detector. There we go. There you go. Ben Crump. Said his clients have been receiving conflicting accounts and incomplete information about the circumstances of Reed's death. Crump said that Kaepernick will pay for an independent autopsy through his Know Your Rights Camp Autopsy initiative. Trey's death evoked the collective memory of a community that has suffered a historic wound over many, many years and many, many deaths, Crump said in a statement. Peace will only come by telling the truth. We thank Colin Kaepernick for supporting this grieving family in the cause of justice and truth. Bolivar County Coroner Randolph Seals Jr. said earlier this week that Reed did not suffer any injuries consistent with assault. Hey, Benny Thompson of Mississippi. Hey, imagine that. The same guy we just heard had all kinds of bad things to say about Charlie Kirk has called for an investigation citing the state's painful history of lynching and racial violence against African Americans. Kaepernick last played in the NFL in 2016, leading the 49ers to the Super Bowl. Before losing to the Baltimore Ravens, he went 28-30 as a starter, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay, so Fox, for some reason, felt that football stats were important to that story. And the last sort of news story I wanted to cover, I wanted to save this for last with all the Charlie Kirk stuff. I wanted to get through all the Charlie Kirk stuff before I mentioned this next story out of Arizona. Tomorrow night, they will be holding Charlie's services, Charlie Kirk's memorial services, his essentially funeral at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. But today, police arrested a man. Ignore this video here. Arrested a man for impersonating law enforcement. Glendale, Arizona, a man who is exhibiting, and this is from azfamily.com. Glendale, Arizona, a man who was exhibiting suspicious behavior was arrested at State Farm Stadium Friday afternoon. Okay, so this was yesterday. My bad. Saying that says Camp Autopsy, scouting has lost all bearings. Oh no. Arizona DPS confirmed that Joshua Runkles, 42, was taken into custody and booked into Maricopa County Jail. However, DPS confirmed Runkles was released on bond. Secret Service contacted Runkles, who reportedly told them he was a member of law enforcement and that he was armed, according to Secret Service. Authorities confirmed Runkles is not a member of authorized law enforcement working the event. There were multiple knives and guns recovered. Secret Service and Arizona DPS are jointly investigating Runkles' arrest and the circumstances surrounding why he was at State Farm Stadium. He was booked on charges of impersonating law enforcement and carrying a weapon in a prohibited place. The arrest comes as security is tight in the area surrounding State Farm Stadium the day before the Kirk Memorial, which is anticipated to bring officials, including President Trump, Vice President Vance, and other notable speakers. And then, Kirk was assassinated September 10th. Since then, there have been vigils around the valley, including outside the Turning Point USA headquarters in Phoenix and at ASU's Tempe campus. And Kirk founded Turning Point USA and then moved to its national headquarters in Phoenix in 2018. So shout out to everyone in Phoenix. Please stay safe this weekend. And please keep your eyes open and keep your head on a swivel. Let's do one more news story. From the AP, Florida federal judge tosses Trump's $15 billion defamation suit against New York Times. District Judge Stephen Maraday ruled that Trump's 85-page lawsuit was overly long and full of tedious and burdensome language that had no bearing on the legal case. The judge gave Trump 28 days to file an amended complaint that should not exceed 40 pages. A complaint is not a megaphone for public relations or a podium for a passionate oration at a political rally. This action will begin and continue and end in accord with the rules of procedure and in a professional and dignified manner. Trump's legal team plans to continue the lawsuit in accordance with the judge's directions. Trump lawsuit named 4 New York Times journalists and cited a book and 3 articles published within a 2-month period before the election. We welcome the judge's quick ruling. Oh, this is the Times. We welcome the judge's quick ruling, which recognized that the complaint was a political document rather than a serious legal filing, spokesperson Charlie Statlander said Friday. Maraday noted the lawsuit did not get to the first defamation count until page 80. The lawsuit delves into Trump's work on The Apprentice and an extensive list of Trump's other media appearances. As every lawyer knows or is presumed to know, a complaint is not a public forum for vituperation and invective, not a protected platform to rage against an adversary, wrote Maraday, an appointment of President H.W. Bush. So this must be an older judge here. Although lawyers receive a modicum of expressive latitude in pleading the claim of a client, the complaint in this action extends far beyond the outer bound of that latitude and likes to use interesting words that you don't use in everyday language. The lawsuit, named in a book and an article written by Times reporters Russ Butner and Suzanne Craig, focuses on Trump's finances and his pre-presidency role in The Apprentice. Trump said in the lawsuit that they maliciously peddled the fact tree narrative that television producer Mark Burnett turned Trump into a celebrity and, quote, even though at and prior to the time of publications, defendants knew that President Trump was already a mega celebrity and an enormous success in the business. And also attack claims the reporters made about early business dealings and his father, Fred, and then cited other articles. And yeah. So they said, who's going to tell Jack Smith? Yeah, no shit. Jack Smith also got into some interesting things. And I said that was going to be the last news article, but let's do one more. Let's do one more because if you folks don't know, I'm an amusement park junkie. It's one of my addictions here. I am an amusement park junkie, and let's do this. A few days ago, the new park at Universal Orlando, Universal's Epic Universe. They've got a brand new theme park. It's got the Super Mario World. It's got various other interesting stuffs. But one of the most intriguing things for me is they've got a roller coaster called Stardust Racers. It's a roller coaster where you sit in line. Instead of side by side, you sit in line. And there are 2 trains on 2 tracks that kind of whip in and out of each other along a pair of tracks. And 3 days ago, unfortunately, someone has died on this ride. And now we have new information about what happened. Oh, sorry. And let's listen to this little clip here.
Yeah, things changing by really the moment here. We've got more breaking news on what happened out at Universal, Epic Universe. We now have the incident report in our hands on the man who died after riding the Epic Universe roller coaster. We also just got into our newsroom in the last 15 minutes, the dispatch audio. I will hear it with you for the first time. This comes from the Orange County Sheriff's Office.
We were told to respond to a patient with a laceration and was unresponsive.
Laceration.
We got there, he is not breathing, and CPR is in progress.
Oh, it does.
Again, that's just a portion of the audio as we work our way through this new information. According to an incident report, Fire Rescue and Universal Orlando Health Services began CPR on Kevin Zavala on that platform right next to the Stardust Racer roller coaster. The report says Zavala had a spinal injury that did require him to be in a wheelchair. The ride is wheelchair accessible. Zavala was pronounced dead right after 10 p.m.
In Bunnell, just south of County Road.
Okay, so there you have it. So yeah, he had a spinal injury and was in a wheelchair, and this led a lot of people to suggest that maybe he had some issues where he was not able to, move very much in the seat, and or maybe had a secondary health issue that caused him to have maybe a heart attack or a blackout or a stroke. And what we've actually found out now, there's been a lot of reports that witnesses have said that a piece of the ride may have broke off and struck Kevin Zavala several times. And his cause of death has now come out, and it is repeated blunt force trauma. Yeah, here, let me bring that back up here just so you know that I'm not making shit up. Cause of death was multiple blunt impact injuries, according to the medical examiner. It says the cause of those injuries is still being investigated, but like I said, from eyewitness reports, it sounds like a piece of the ride may have broke off and struck Mr. Zavala several times. It's one of those things where we seek out thrills, and all thrills have a risk. We just want to hope that the engineers and safety inspectors and all that are doing a damn good job. Sangan says he shouldn't have gotten close to a coaster. One wrong impact could have killed him. I mean, that's kind of what happened, but what do? You can't, these things are wheelchair accessible. And honestly, it sucks bad enough living your life in a wheelchair. If there's something that can be semi-safely done to enjoy some kind of thrills in life, I can't hate on a person for trying. And it should be a safe thing to do. It should be safe as it is for anyone else. Yeah, I know the spinal injury. I wouldn't advise him to get on some of these old rickety wood coasters, right? Because they really whip your back around. But especially one of these new steel coasters, they're very smooth of a ride, as long as you're not being hit with parts of it. All right, folks, let's get into the next segment here. We love to end the show on Saturday with a segment where we go check out this other YouTube channel. There's this other YouTube channel out there called Love Don't Judge. And we here at Miles Culture Plate every Saturday love to finish off in a very loving manner by checking out people who are in unique relationships and maybe experiencing some online judgment, some online hatred. And we here at Miles Culture Play, we like to say outlast the haters. And so we look in on some of these people and find out how well they're outlasting the haters and whether or not some of the criticism of their lifestyle could be warranted if they're asking for it. Now, again, I'm not into victim blaming, so to speak, but we're all responsible a little bit for some of the judgment we receive. And so let's look at the energy some of these people are putting out into the universe as we check out People Can't Believe I'm With a Baddie. Love Don't Judge.
I'm Chapo. This is my partner Mallory. People can't believe.
Chapo with an X. Chapo with an X.
This is my partner Mallory. People can't.
Chapo with an X. Sega says, yeah, I could tell you, they tell plenty of people they can't do anything. One I'll never forget is a doc telling a kid she could never shoot so much as a 22. Got to find the right balance. Yeah.
Chapo, this is my partner Mallory. People can't believe I'm with a baddie. Sometimes they be saying that, oh, he a little fat boy.
They're like, why are you kissing your
I
kid?
mean, she's
My
fat
man is
too.
12 years younger than me. They always tell me, like, he's too young for you. Let me show you what a real man
Too
does.
young?
My profession is just.
I mean, I can't even tell how old you are, lady, because your face is made full of plaster and what the fuck? What the fuck am I even looking at? Sangler says he better own a BBQ place. Yeah. I mean, he looks like he does, even though he's like 21, 22.
Being an artist.
I love Chapo's music. It lifts me up.
Free my brother out the pen, still screaming.
Oh, he's
my
a
cousin
rapper.
Chapo really is a geek.
The only
He's a
reservations
fucking
I
rapper.
had about them getting together is his height.
I'm dating a short king, so what?
I felt like he was like a little baby. I'm not gonna lie, like I had my doubts because of the whole age gap situation.
God, and they're hanging out with other women with balloon lips. What's up with the balloon lips?
So what do you think overall about our relationship now?
Kind of too high. You can have those shoes up there. Right now, we're picking out outfits for each other. If I don't
Oh,
like the outfit,
Houston.
I'll tell
And
her go
they're
back
in
and do it again.
Houston.
But I'm really
Imagine
the
that.
masterminds.
I never
Yeah,
would
no,
have
you get
guessed.
me right. You get me right.
Yeah.
You know, people can't believe I'm with a baddie.
My friend was out with one of his friends, and that's how like we all linked up.
No, it's just,
Calling
just a
that
young
a
fly
baddie.
ass.
You're calling that a baddie.
It's just, just looking for the love of my life. And then I ended up bumping into baby one day. She was on the stool twerking. I put on my phone. I started
she was
recording her.
twerking.
And I was like, nah, man. Like, I got to take her home
Daddy, where did you meet mommy? She was shaking that dump truck.
with me. So, boom. I ended up getting a flower from the there be little old ladies right there. I like, come on. Give me one. Go ahead and send it over there to her.
I was like, no, I'm good. She's like, no, they bought you one. And I'm like, who bought me a flower? And I'm looking around, and it was like literally slow motion. Like the guys just moved out of the way, and the shortest one, he's like this. Like,
Get out like a sore thumb.
yeah. He did. Like, but I didn't think nothing of it. I'm just like, come here.
They smiled on me. I was just cheesing. I was like,
That's what caught me.
I did it. After
What
that, we
the
stayed together
hell?
for like 3 days.
And then, within the third day, I'm like,
practically
so what are we?
speechless.
And he's like, you're a baby. And ever since then, it's been a
This is like National Geographic to me. I'm watching a different species have a mating ritual. I have no idea what I'm looking at, but I'm here for it. I'm here for it. This is weird to me. Like, he bought you a flower, you didn't know. Like, half the time they're blurring out her tattoo and half the time they're not. Like, what's going on here?
Rob. We moved in together like not even a week later.
What's on her what's in her
it's going on
cleavage?
2 years already.
Going 2 years now.
Yeah.
I like to wear like I forgot what these are called. They're like the stack jeans. They're the stack jeans. Man, look, I got some more over here.
And yeah,
See,
Sanglin has the same question. What the hell are in the tats that they're having to blur? Yeah, because they're half the time they're blurring it, half the time they're not. Like, what the hell?
Haste them. I got a whole bunch
Oh,
of
it's
them.
the hands.
I got a whole bunch. She said these look like a curtain.
No, it looks like a carpet.
Nah.
I mean, he's improved since I've been with him. He had a little some.
No, it's in the tits.
She got hey, she
It's
helped
in
me.
the
She helped
tits
me.
there. They were clearly blurring the tits there.
He had a little some.
Yeah, see, her hand is nowhere near the tits.
But
She got hey, she helped me. She helped me get my swag up. You know.
yeah, my man is 12 years younger
She
than me.
helped me get my swag.
I mean, I
up.
never thought about being with someone young and stuff, but when I saw him, I didn't see his height, how old he was, or anything like that. Like, he had a good soul. It's
Yeah, you
something
saw
about his soul.
money.
Like, he has an old soul.
Money.
And I like that about him, so yeah.
She making me blush, man. Yeah, it's like we kind of seems like we the same age.
I have 7 kids. My oldest one just turned 18, and a lot.
What? She just said that like it was nothing. She just said that like it was nothing. I gotta go back.
And I like that about him, so yeah.
She making me blush, man. Yeah, it's like we kind of seems like we the same age.
I have 7 kids. My oldest one just turned 18, and a lot of people be all surprised, like, how do you have an 18-year-old but you're dating a 24? You know, but
I mean, my bro, the vagina is a clown car. You're just the latest one to take a ride.
everybody warmed up to him quick.
7 kids. 7. She has a child old enough to go to college. Not that they ever would. Let's be honest. I don't think any of her offspring, unless they're really, really gifted, are getting a scholarship. And I don't think this buddy here, I think, judging by her plastic surgery and his bling, I don't think they're saving money in a trust fund.
Their kids. People would tell me like, "Oh, child, you need to get a girl that you could start your family with," and this. I'm like, "What you mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? I already got a family with her. She is my family."
A lot of people don't see like how we really are. They're just judged by what they see on social media.
Sometimes they be saying that, "Oh, he a little fat boy."
They always tell me like, he's too young for you. Let me show you what a real man does. They're like, why are you kissing your kid?
Gross.
He's like 5'2". I'm 5'4".
Gross. Come on, internet. You're better than this. Like, you dudes, thirsty dudes on the internet. This is what you're thirsting over. You gotta be shit. That's fake. I have to think that's fake. There are dudes really saying, get with a real man. Come on.
Your ID says I'm 5'3".
We've always talked about the height and stuff in the beginning. I would always tell him like, you weren't this short, when I met you. And he's like, it was because I was wearing these shoes.
I was wearing some.
Like, it's got to be OnlyFans, right? Like, tell me she's on OnlyFans. Tell me these are dudes who were already in the middle of taking care of themselves, already in horny mode, and just saw another booty and pair of titties and commented. But again, why would his picture be on there? They're clowning this guy. I don't know, man. I have no idea what's going on here, and I'm flabbergasted. I'm speechless. And yeah, the tattoos are weird. Like, what's this woman here on her shoulder? Oh, you can't see it because of me. Here, let me turn my camera off real quick. All right, you see this right here, like a weird woman's picture with face paint, and then you got this other weird woman here. I mean, probably some sort of singer or something. She's got some numbers and words, and like this weird eagle thing on her chest. And again, they're half the time they're blurring out whatever's here in the cleavage area, and half the time they're not. Weird.
Like moon shoes.
They're like moon boots. I'm like 2 inches taller than her with those. They say it ain't gonna last.
They say that our careers are gonna end as well.
Hey, we got Dear Sarge in the chat over on Rumble asking how long we're going. I try to go till the top of the hour here, 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern. Cheers and welcome to Dear Sarge. Good seeing you. But I'll be honest, I'm sort of running out of material here, so I may cut early, slightly, not too early, but we'll see if I can make it to the top of the hour. But since Dear Sarge popped in during this very unfortunate segment, I'm going to go ahead and give him the sad violin here. All right, cheers. Oh, he's about to raid out himself and was looking for a target. Yeah, sorry, can't be me. Thank you though, appreciate it.
They try to tell me like, "Oh man, she's not gonna let you be able to do your music," and but she's real supportive of my music.
My friend's coming over today so she can discuss about our relationship and how she really feels about it. She's had some things.
I mean, it could be me. I'd be raiding out too here shortly. So, yeah, don't want to annoy the audience too much.
To say about like he's too young for you. You need to date someone your own age and stuff.
When Mallory and Chapo initially started dating, of course, the age gap.
I want to
was
know
a
who
little
this
off
chick's
to me.
man is.
The only reservations I had about them getting
Like,
together
she at least doesn't
is
have the nasty
his,
tattoos. Now, granted, her face is totally like she looks like she got hit by roller coaster parts.
height. Yeah, he was just a lot shorter than her, and she's taller. I felt like he was like, like a little baby.
So
Now
Mallory
she's clowning on it.
came up here to talk about our relationship.
Right. Basically, like, I just really wanted to know what's your intentions with my friend.
Nah, I got pure
They always
intentions,
do this.
good.
It's always the same question on this fucking show. What were your intentions with my friend? Who gives a shit? Like, his intentions are to fuck her and love her and be her partner.
Good intentions.
Like, this is what I mean by outlast the haters. I mean, that's the most obvious question you can answer. Like, I'm here with her, like she's in my home, we're fucking, we're spending time together, we're having a relationship. What do you want me to say? My intentions are to beat the shit out of her every day? Do you think if that was his intent? My intention is to cheat on her and beat the shit out of her every day. You think a scumbag's really going to admit that on live TV? No, he's going to say, I just love her, man. And that's what that's what he's about to say.
Nah, I got pure intentions, good intentions. I love Mallory. She loves me, like I plan to marry her, so it's like everything's good.
At first, I'm not gonna lie, like, I had my doubts. Just like I'm sure everyone else did because of the whole age gap situation. But that's just a small hurdle in the road. And at the end of the day, like,
yeah, he wants her for her money.
How does the outside judgment affect you guys?
At first, to be honest with you, I had a lot of emotions, girl. It was
he dated a mother of 7 for her money. These fucking people.
Like, I don't know if I was shy or kind of like, I wasn't embarrassed about him per se, but it was more like I was just embarrassed what people were saying. But when I would look at him, like, it was like nothing mattered. Like, I didn't care what anybody said. Like, the feelings of embarrassment or anything was just out the window. You know what I mean? I love the way he makes me feel.
I ignored all the red flags.
I love the way you make me feel too, man.
That made me cry. I'm so emotional, but it's for rare. It's like,
I'll be honest with you guys, I did not think y'all were gonna make it. Everybody's like that where, and I was like, I understand when you say people.
Again, speaking of looking like the prosthetics from Planet of the Apes, I mentioned the Roseanne thing earlier, man. She definitely looks like she has the face prosthetic.
Think that it's for clout or whatever, but I was actually around you guys and I know it's not that at all. So us seeing all of this just come about,
beating the cases, still thinking together. Everybody thought that we're gonna be separate. Everybody thought that we're gonna, like, as soon as we beat the case, we're gonna go our separate ways. It didn't. We came out way freaking stronger.
Yeah, we did.
We really did. Everybody was shocked. They're like, how they doing it?
How are they doing it?
So
I mean, how are you doing
about
it?
Our relationship
Who's
now?
got money in this situation?
If you would have asked me this question,
I mean, he's a rapper. You're a mother of 7. How are you affording this relationship? How are you affording the bling?
Maybe a couple months back.
Yeah, they are blurring
I probably would have been
hand
like,
tattoo.
But now moving forward, like, I really like the way everything's panned out with you guys. I feel like y'all ready. Y'all just ready to move on to the next chapter.
Cheers to that, y'all. Cheers to that.
I'm glad we put that under.
Wait a minute. They blurred the hand, and now they just showed the hand. They are bad at this blurring. I can't tell what the hand tattoo is. It looks like maybe a gang symbol or something. There's words on her knuckles and numbers, but I don't know what's on the actual surface of the hand. It doesn't look like anything sexual.
I'm glad we put that under.
Put
that under the rug.
Yeah, let's go. Well, today we're gonna go to the studio because Chapo is gonna make some new music. I love Chapo's music. It lifts me up. You know, I always put it on repeat and stuff like that.
Her baby daddy broke. He be driving in the bucket. Free my brother out the pen. Still screaming, my cousin Chopper real as it get. You know, I don't go for nothing. All right, let me hear that real quick. I'm going to come out there and listen to it.
I want to hear that again. Oh man, I gotta hear this dude's dope rhyme.
Her baby daddy broke. He be
Baby daddy broke.
driving in the bucket. Free
He be driving in the bucket.
my brother out the pen. Still
Free my brother out the pen. He's still
my cousin Chopper real
fucking
as
with
it
my
get.
cousin.
You know, I don't go for nothing. All right, let me hear that real quick. I'm going to come out there and listen to it. Madly changed my life in a great way.
Like, how did he pay for this studio time? Is that an in-home studio? How much money did you spend on the equipment if so? Like, I always come out of these Love Don't Judge with more questions than answers. I want to know what you're doing for money, how you're getting this stuff.
You know, like, she showed me things a lot of people didn't show me. You know, she showed me a lot of love. She nursed me and all of that. I'm her baby. She my baby. We take care of each other.
What I love most about Chapo is his goofiness. He has a really big sense of humor. And yes, I know he
I
looks
think
like
you're
a
right,
kid,
Single
but
Ant.
like I said before, he has an old soul. But at the same time, it's like we enjoy a lot of the same things. And I'm really a kid at heart. And it's like he brings it out in me.
To the people that don't like us or like
Wait. I still can't see what's on the knuckles. But there's definitely numbers down here. Those are definitely numbers. And that looks like a 1. And that kind of looks like a 3. Or a 5 or an 8. That's either a 3, a 5, or an 8 right there. And that's definitely a 1.
say about us. I'll be like, man, look, we don't want to hear anything you got to say. We don't want to hear anything you got to say.
Sangler bought a really nice DJ mixer for less than $20. It was misclassed as a mini mixer. All right. Well, this guy's also a mini mixer. I actually went out and bought a mixer today. I said I had one, but I'm not going to be using it on my computer setup. So yeah, all the stuff I said I was going to try to do with a mixer on my computer, it didn't work out, and I'm just going to keep using my podcast setup. But it is what it is. Okay, so yeah, shout out. What was their names again?
I'm Chapo. This is my partner,
Mallory. So shout out to Chapo and Mallory. Outlast the haters. Now again, I didn't hear a whole lot of hate other than he's short and he's young. I mean, and they didn't really talk a lot about the criticism other than thirsty dudes online wanting to fuck her. So I don't know what the problem is other than is she just that insecure? Apparently she is that insecure because of all the plastic surgery she's had and the tattoos and, you know, God knows what else. But it is what it is. I mean, hey, if you're happy, do your thing. I mean, just know that life is what you make it. And kind of hard to support 7 kids on a rap career. You know what I mean? I'm fascinated. What do these people do for money? And please, like, tell me the secret so I can not work as hard as I do at my full-time job and podcasting. All right, folks, speaking of, we are now reaching the end of the program. Please do me a favor, click that thumbs up button on your way out, and please share this link around. Let other people see what we have seen. Let other people hear the gospel of mild. I'm just kidding. Not gospel. I'm no preacher. I am no religion. But one thing I do want to say on a personal note, I've never been really religious. I've had some spiritual thoughts. I've read good chunks of the Bible, but I've never really explored faith because, quite frankly, most churches make me sick. Either they try to appeal to the youth too much, or there's too much singing, or they're too corporatized, or they're into the LGBTQ plus stuff, and it just, or they're too homely and like it's full of old people and they're just meh, 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 and then they do it. I can't seem to find a happy medium. Just kind of like I can't find very many communities with people like you lovely people out there in Rumble and YouTube land. You can't, society's full of just amazing people, but sometimes they're hard to find from all the normies and all the weird subcultures we have in the United States. And so with all the evil that's happened this week, it does have me kind of wanting to check out a few churches though. So I'm going to be trying to do that, and I'll give you folks an update into what I've found and whether or not my prejudgment of certain churches saying like, or they try to separate their kids from parents as they walk through the door. Yeah, that's a big red flag for me. I want to see families in church, right? That's what I want to see. I want to see families in a church, but also not one of those churches that's specifically for young people. You know what I mean? If they got like a giant video board and overproduced music, it just is. I'm not trying to go to a stage show. I want to hear the word of God. Anyway, so I'll let you folks know how that's going. We're going to be live back on this channel this Monday evening or afternoon, 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern. Going to be back on this channel if you're a Rumble Premium member. Please become a Rumble Premium member. If you're not a Rumble Premium member, I believe there's a link at the underneath this video. You can become a Rumble Premium member. We didn't quite get to read an ad today on the show, but usually on this show, I'll read an ad for Rumble Premium, let you know how you can get Rumble Premium, but I'm not going to read an ad for Rumble Premium. I'm just going to tell you that we'll be doing a Rumble Premium show on Monday right here. Same bat time, same bat channel on Monday, and we'll obviously be back Wednesday and Saturday. Actually, no, we will not be back Saturday. We will be back Wednesday, and I'm probably going to be taking another Saturday off. I will be doing a makeup stream at some point. It may be before then. I'm not sure. But I may wind up doing Wednesday and Thursday this week. I may do like a Charlie Kirk something. Anyway, so my right now my intention Monday is to watch the Sam Hyde show from a week ago. Yeah, where he kind of breaks down his anger at the Charlie Kirk situation and what's kind of going on in our country. And I was just kind of EFAP it a little bit. So tune in for that. I'm obviously going to be doing some other long form stuff. I think I like that new format of checking out long form content and exploring the political philosophies that other people are talking about and giving my own little opinion on the bits and pieces of it. So yeah, click that thumbs up button. If you're new here, please click the follow, share this off platform. And also if you're new here, please watch a second video somewhere on my channel. Go find another video to watch. Always helps out with the algorithms and helps me be seen by more people. If you're listening on audio only or you're listening on demand later, please leave me a message down in the comments. Let me know you were by. Cheers to you folks. Good seeing you. Good seeing you. And a big cheers to everyone who showed up in the chat tonight. I love y'all. I love you all. Definitely helping out with these Rumble numbers. I need all the help I can get. I will say this, it's not looking likely that I will be continuing as a Rumble creator program. My watch hours in the dashboard are abysmal. Hey, I've reached the 20 chatters benchmark. And then, of course, Monday, I'm probably going to hit the premium and ad reads if I can get enough viewers. But yeah, the watched hours, I have no hope of reaching it at this point unless this goes super fucking viral. The only way I'm going to reach it is if somebody big raids me at this point. Anyway, so there's an update on that. Rumble Creator Program not doing well for the old mild. So yeah, if I fall out of it, this show may take some dramatic, radical changes in the month of October, because I've got serious real life stuff happening that month, and yeah, I don't. This is shit or get off the pot time. Either I do good on Rumble, or I need to spend a lot less time sitting here at this desk. But yeah, we'll be doing that. We'll be doing long form content on Monday. And the next Monday, I might be doing like a double Rumble gaming stream over on my gaming channel, trying to play out some more of Diablo 4. But yeah, see, what did I forget? I know I'm forgetting something. Hit that bell for notifications. Yeah. Leave a comment. I don't know. Maybe I'm not forgetting anything. Anyway, Sanglet says, see ya and Godspeed on that AV setup. Yeah. I mean, that's more for my music side of my hobbies. Kind of the live stream stuff kind of fell apart as far as upgrades to my audio system here. But I think what I've got seems to be working for the most part, except for when Sanglet, you've seen where video games have blasted through way louder than my mic, and I think I've kind of adjusted that to where it's less of a factor. Man, I feel like I'm forgetting something very important to the stream, and I don't know what it is. I'm having a brain fart, folks. Links down in the description to all the social media and all my other channels. Feel free to click and follow on all those as well. Man, I'm exhausted. Been a long week. I'm going to go cook myself a steak and some veggies on the grill. And I'm going to have a wonderful evening, and I hope you folks do the same. Folks, take care of yourself. Oh, wait. Rumble raid. Got to raid somebody. Who can we raid out to? Anyone in my follows? Let me see who we got in our follows. Well, Cool Frog's live. I think I'm just going to raid Cool Frog. Or wait, Real Patriots Party. Party watching TV. I don't like that. Yeah, I think I might just raid Cool Frog. Cool Frog's talking about Trump administration related stuff. I tuned in earlier when he was talking about Linda McMahon. Pretty interesting. He was showing an interview with Linda McMahon. Oh, look, we have a spammer that left a comment down in the comment section. Anyway, so yeah, well, let's go raid Cool Frog, folks. Take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. Outlast those haters. Go to church tomorrow. Don't get any on you. And if you do, rub that shit in real good. See you next time on Miles Culture Plate, you heathens. Good night.